responded as going, but
don't. I'll just pretend it's a one-to-one.
That's all it is, isn't it? That's all you got to say. Here you go. I think we're just about to go live. Here we go. Always have my grumpy face. Good evening, everyone. How's it all going? We are live tonight with Helen, and we're taking the fear out of VAT as we've advertised. So I hope you've all been busy. Our phones have just been red hot today. The groomers in the shop have just been like, oh, will someone shut that phone up? But, you know, it's really nice being busy, isn't it? And getting these dogs in. They certainly need, some of the dogs I've seen today have certainly needed a trim. There's hair everywhere. I can see why Colin's podcast is called the way it is. Absolutely hair everywhere. So how you doing, Helen? How's it been? How's your day been?
Fine, busy like everyone else, but yeah, fine.
Awesome.
Still alive, yeah. It's a busy time.
So you replied to a comment, I think, on the Facebook group at some point. Or I was banging on about VAT and like how it should be your target and like how you should smash it. And there's quite a lot of fear and negativity around the VAT subject. And tonight we're going to talk about normal, like VAT on your everyday turnover. So I don't really want to, you don't run a school, do you? So I don't really want to touch on the complex issues around VAT and whether you're a training school and that's for another day. So this is just going to be around your run-of-the-mill grooming business, which you've grown to the 85,000 threshold. So you replied to a few comments, and I found that you had a really positive story to tell about your VAT journey and what you'd learned about it. So I wanted to bring you on live and sort of talk to the other groomers and explain your journey. But before we do that, maybe you can just give us an idea of how you got into the dog grooming industry and how it all came about.
Yeah, it was by accident, really. Doing my O-levels, 15, and not really any idea what I wanted other than that I wanted to work with dogs or animals. And every teacher turned me away from it, saying, no, don't do it. And woke up by a friend of my mum's, basically needed help in her grooming salon. And my mum dragged me out of bed early hours of like 7 o'clock, which is early for a 15-year-old on a break. And yeah, and I went in to help out for a day, and it went from there. I loved it, and to duck to water really, and that is where it all began. And that person took me on, so I worked for that chap Simon, and I worked for him for 12 years and did my City and Guilds, which only just came out actually when I was, you know, back I think it's 1994, something like that. It was a long time ago. So yeah, I did my City and Guilds, carried on, and then he turned around to me one day and said he was selling the business and moving away, and he literally gave me a weekend to decide whether to buy the business. Which I couldn't do, but anyway, the person who was buying it, the sale fell through. So long story short, I ended up having the business and took it over and ran it for 6 years, sold it for 6 years while I had my children, and then got it back, and I've had it for 10 years, so 34 years in total. But the same business, I've not left it, so no. I've either owned it or worked it.
You just couldn't shake this business off, could you? You couldn't.
No, I love it. It is so passionate, and I mean, I've still got customers now that I've known since I was 15. So wow. Generations of dogs, and there's so many of those that are so loyal that it's quite embarrassing because they've known me since I was a dirty, snotty 15-year-old. Now I'm a sort of grumpy 49-year-old, but yeah, those people are still there, and I think loyalty, it goes to show. And I've made a lot of changes along the way. When I took over the business, it was running at a loss, and it was a pet supply store and a dog grooming. And the dog grooming, it's about 50-50 of what he did, but I didn't, the pet side of it, the pet shop, it was so much stress. I didn't enjoy it. A lot of it was wastage and stock taking. So I literally moved the salon bigger, got rid of the pet supplies, and the dog grooming grew.
So how many tables, baths, staff? How many tables?
We've got 3 grooming tables. I employ all my staff. I've never had the self-employed sort of thing. I just prefer employment. I think it works well for both the team and myself. I feel that I've got that umbrella, because I always worry if I had self-employed, if anything went wrong, it's still my business name, but I haven't got as much control over something going wrong, you know, whether it be a hairstyle. And I think actually your customers get to know your own sort of styles in the way that you groom. And I've trained my staff to groom like myself. So we've got a little bit of a reputation for the styles that we do. So I've got 3 tables, but we actually also have sides that we groom on. So we've got like work tops with all the beds are underneath. I prefer to work on that rather than a table, just the way I was trained. So there's 7 staff.
7. Wow.
7, yeah. One is my husband, so he's the odd job man. And I've got 3 groomers and myself, so 4 groomers. And then I've got my 3 children. One does reception and the other 2 do bathing and prepping. So it's, yeah, small team, but good. It works well.
And what sort of customer base do you know? How many sort of customers you've got?
It's thousands. I mean, I've got 4. I haven't gone on online at the moment, so I'm still old-fashioned pen and paper. And I've got 4 solid drawers packed of record cards, and I've only just cleared them out, because every year I go through and sift them through, and I get a pile like that. And I've probably got, I don't know, it's thousands. It's thousands. I couldn't count.
Wow, you're doing really, really well. And so you took this business over, and it was running at a loss. So what did you do straight away to start picking the business up and changing it around?
Already there were quite a lot. There's a good customer basis. My previous boss he had the same prices for years. It was just, he might put them up £1 a year. He used to do collection and delivery, and I know it was a long time ago, so obviously pricing was different, but he used to charge something like £1.50 to collect a dog. In that, to me, that went straight away, the collection and delivery. I think I did it for a year just to keep those customers happy and wean it down. It took an hour to get across the other side of town. That's an hour I could be doing a dog.
Yeah.
So for a few quid, and actually those customers all came to me. They can do it, you know. So that I scrapped that. I upped all my prices, because actually I wanted to drop the level initially of customers that there were, because it was too many for me to deal with. And I literally like whacked on a load of price. I think I added on about £10, and at that time that's a lot to go from dogs at £22 or ridiculous prices, and doing that I went quite substantially higher than a lot of other salons. But back then there weren't a lot of salons. It wasn't known. It was not an industry that was hardly known about, to be honest. So there wasn't any competition. What
did your customers say when you just said, right, I'm charging an extra £10?
They admired me for it. I didn't just do it without explanation. I warned people I was going to do it, and I explained why I was doing it. And I said the business is running at a loss, and if you're going to want us to carry on doing your dogs, I've got to reconstruct it. And they understood. I think because I spent a lot of time talking to people. I like to talk, as you know. It's just a lot of it is just communication.
Yeah.
And I think I lost a few, but actually a lot of those came back anyway. And it just worked. It worked well for me. I had a small team that worked for me, and one of the girls that was working with me at the time, I kept her on in employment. So we already had our little team, and we just worked really well. And it went from strength to strength, really. So yeah.
But with putting up your prices and being busy comes that big VAT question, doesn't it? And how did you know about VAT before you bought the business? How did you become aware of what it was, and that you're something that you're going to have to deal with and come?
I mean, originally my boss was VAT registered because of the pet shop, but he had 2 different businesses. and the grooming was making hardly any money. It was, as I say, it was running at a loss. So I never even thought that the VAT would I never crossed my mind that I'd be big enough to get there. I thought I was going to be a small little business. So I didn't even think I was going to ever hit a figure like that. But actually, it happened really quickly to get to that kind of mark. It dropped back down because I slowed down because I had children.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got back into this time round, when I bought the business, so 10 years ago, I was just, every year it was getting harder. I was turning away customers. So I was kind of figure watching every month, thinking, okay, if I go over, I was that close last year. So I knew that each month I had to make less, because to keep prices, I was keeping prices the same for years because I couldn't put a price up. If I put a price up, I'd hit the VAT and I'd have to lose customers. So I was literally charging the same for years in a row because I couldn't charge any more, because I would have to shut my books. Not only just shut my books, I'd have to tell people to go elsewhere because I couldn't afford to have them on my books because I'd be over the threshold. So.
And what was your mindset? What was your worry around what was motivating you to slow yourself down and stop taking those customers on?
I think I thought, if I go smaller, it's going to be less stress. And I thought if I just keep going smaller, and then it starts thinking, actually, if I do that, I'm going to have to get rid of staff. And I really like my staff. They're a good team and they've gone a long way with me. So to give them a decent wage and to give myself a decent wage and to cover my overheads, I kind of needed, I couldn't make, even if I paid them a wage, I couldn't make enough profit with everything added together. Mm-hmm. So everyone was against the VAT, and there's no other salons. I mean, even now, there's hardly any salons that are VAT registered. And I was in the mindset that, oh my God, I'm going to have to pay 20% or flat. I do the flat rate, so it's 12%. And I thought, well, I'm going to have to charge that to my customers because I can't afford to pay that. And you're not paying it, you're collecting it. And I think a lot of people think the tax, that's coming out of my earnings, but it's not. You've just got to now collect that. You've hit that threshold. Now you've got to do your duty of collecting that back. And actually, when you look at your own price and you think, okay, add on 12%, it's not that bad. So initially I had all my regular customers and I was very nervous about making that leap for them. I warned a lot of them it was going to come because I could see it coming. And I said, look, it's a choice I'm going to have. I've either got to go for it because my business has got to this point and I want to keep you all on my books and I want to stay open to other clients. And they were really supportive, and they knew for a few months before it happened that they were going to get that increase. And then all my regulars, I put between the 10 and 12%, depending on, I had some customers from, as I said, when I was 15 years old. They're the harder ones to get, but I put everything up. And the new clients coming in, I restructured my price list to 20%. So I had a lot better for my new dogs coming in. So it was hard for the first year because I wasn't seeing any benefit from it. And I had to just sit on a level. So, but I had been sitting on that level for a long time anyway, because I couldn't do a price increase because the price increase alone would have taken me above it. But actually very quickly, my profit is doubled like overnight because I could be more constructive with my pricing because I didn't have to limit myself, and I've grown.
So you said earlier, you're on that threshold. You're sort of battling I call it like a beast of the business. You're battling with it and saying, no, you're not running away from me. You're not running away from me. And you're saying like everyone was telling me not to do it. So was that friends, family, business associates, accountants? Who was?
Everyone. Yeah. Even, I mean, the accountant sort of warned me that, oh, you're going close, you've got to make a decision. And so he wasn't too bad. He just was kind of saying, if you do it, you need to add it on. Don't swallow it. You can't absorb it as a company because you'll end up just working that extra 12% and you'll be worse off. He said, you have to add it on. And that's what I did. You've got to add it on and understand it's not coming out of your money. It's just, the only thing I would say to people is to maybe, for that, to go a bit higher than that. If they're going to do flat rate, go a little bit higher, add on 15%. So they're getting that 3% increase, and then stay structured. Because my mistake was I did that, and then I didn't rate my prices across the board for like, I haven't done it for 5 years, a really big price increase. I've just kind of done enough that I'm paying the VAT and still making quite, I'm probably still higher than the average pricing. And now I said to you last night, I've gone again across the board 15 to 20% on everybody, and I've had nothing, no negativity back. And people said, you know what, I don't care what I pay, it's you that I'm coming for in your business. And because I've explained why I've done it, they understand. Because I just said, look, you know, I did put the prices up, but I haven't, I might be competitive with other salons, but I'm not competitive on myself, because I am VAT registered and I've got there and I'm proud of it. And they see you as established, and they say you see you as competent in what you do, because you've got that big client base.
That's
so
right.
People do see it as a positive. And they don't really care, because they pay VAT on everything. We all pay VAT on most of our, you know, if you want a good plumber, if you want a good electrician, the ones that are good, most of them have a good client basis, so they're VAT registered.
Yeah.
And the ones that are again, people that are just keeping small.
So
you're limiting yourself if you don't go for it.
That's it, and we'll go into that in a minute. And what interests me is that, and I hear it quite a bit, is you're surrounded by people saying to you, don't do it, don't do it. But what I'd question with that is, what experience do they have? You know, were these people in business themselves? Were they struggling with VAT?
Yeah, I mean, it was mainly family, and I think actually my family, they were seeing that I was so stressed not doing it, because it was causing me sleepless nights, worrying about tipping over the edge without me realizing it and getting in trouble. And I was so stressed by turning people away, because you know what it's like, we're getting phone calls every day, like what we've got today. I couldn't fit those dogs in, and that was just more stress. And they were nice people, but I thought, you know, I can't this month, I can't do you this month, because if I do you this month, I'm going to be over the VAT.
Yeah.
So
you were physically battling the VAT and stopping your business from growing, just because you was it like the unknown? You just didn't know what was going to happen, or was it the putting the prices up that was scaring you? What was stopping you?
I think putting the prices up, I've always been a bit of a wince on the pricing, because I think because I've been doing it for so long, you get friendly with your clients. But at the end of the day, you're a business. And I think you have to think, they might be friends, but you're still making a business. And actually, if they care for you, they'll realize you're a business. And it's like with anything. I think that you have to be, I was scared, but it's because it is unknown. And actually, there's not many businesses that are service businesses to get to the VAT. It's a huge success to get to that stage. So you should celebrate the fact that you've become, you know, that established. And it's fine if you want to stay small. There's some groomers that are happy doing that. But if you're on that cusp, your business is telling you what to do. And if I'd done it earlier, that price increase wouldn't have been so bad, because I would have done the price increase earlier. So my customers wouldn't have had 5 years of knowing my lower pricing and having that whoosh. It would have just been, that's the way it is. So a dog where you're adding the 12% on for your flat rate, or your 20% if you're going to go down that route, people would have been used to paying it and they wouldn't have known any different. So I wouldn't have had to explain it to everybody so much. It would have just been the norm.
You're saying about, you know, if you want to stay small, you can, but I think a lot of people do struggle. I think when you start off, obviously you start slowly, but then you get more efficient and better. And when you can become more efficient, you can do more dogs. And then I think people find themselves quickly racing towards it and not quite understanding how or why, or maybe, you know, they're not quite grasping the fact that they're getting so close and that the business is doing well, and they're not celebrating that, but then looking at the next stage. And I
I
think
mean,
it's you physically stop it.
even if I worked on my own, and I did like minimal drop in a day, doing all of that, I'm on that VAT level anyway. If I just work quite not a busy grooming, but the prices that I charge, if you try charging well, you're on that brink anyway.
Yeah.
So I just think the more that do it, the more confident people will be at doing it. And it's fine. You just get used to it. It just takes a few months of getting used to it. And then it's the normal and it's fine. I've been doing it for, well, it's 2015.
Yeah. And you know, this is something I've pointed out to people as well in the group. It's like, we charge VAT and we're still here. We're still busy. We're still smashing out the work, and a phone is still ringing every day. And you've just pointed that out as well. 2015, you went VAT registered, and here you are. You're still here. You're still doing it. You're still successful. So when you first went over the threshold and you started charging the VAT, did you say to your customers that's £48 plus VAT, or that's £48 including VAT? How did you word it?
Yeah, I did it including, and I just think people find it a bit easier, and especially if they're phoning up or emailing you, I always say it's inclusive of VAT, and I never not say it either. It's always said, and actually people like, you know, if you might get a client saying, oh, that's expensive, and then you say, oh, you know, we are an established business, so we're VAT registered, we've got a big client basis, and that's it. That's all you have to say. They're like, oh, well, that's really good. That, you know, obviously you're doing well, and it is positive. So if you act positive about it, you'll get positive back. You just got to be confident with it. Don't apologize for being VAT registered.
No.
To say, oh, it's because we're an established business. We've worked really hard for that, and we've become known. We've got a good client basis, and to keep our books open to new clients, we have to do it. And I will say this motto: if they can't afford you, you can't afford them. You know, that's my motto. It's very true. You know, you get customers that might try and say, oh, can you do it cheaper? No, that's my price. I can't do it cheaper.
Yeah, you'd be consistent with your pricing and your customer service. So you've gone VAT registered, and Kirsty's just saying, you know, what do you think about the paperwork? What's the paperwork like? Do you pay quarterly? Do you use something like QuickBooks, anything like that? How do you sort it out?
Zero, and I've got an accountant, and it's quarterly. I do it, but I put it aside. As soon as that money goes into my bank account, I've got two business accounts. I've got a savings and a normal current account, and it just goes straight out. So to me, it's not mine. It's the tax man's. I never have it in the current part. So to me, it's a bill that's got to be paid. Same as my normal tax. I kind of know roughly what my tax is going to be. Everything goes out every month or every week. Every time I do the banking, that chunk of what I've made that week is gone. So I never see it. It's a different account that goes out of. So it's never mine in the first place. Same as any other tax.
So let's break it down for everyone. So you've made, I don't know, £2,000 in the week, and then you take 12% of that £2,000 and then put it into your savings account.
Yeah.
And then you just let that money build up and build up and build up. And then do you go on to zero and do your quarterly return?
No, my accountant does that. So, you know, I can see it on zero, and I see what I'm having, but he'll just do it. He every sort of third, like quarterly, he'll go in, say your VAT, but this time is that, and it's done. And direct debit. So then I know what the bill is. I transfer it back into my current account, and it gets paid, and I pay it on the day, and then so I never see it really, so I don't miss it.
There's a lot of myth out there that people say, you know, I can't afford the VAT, or I can't afford to pay the VAT.
It's not you paying it.
That's right. As a business owner, they're saying I can't afford to have it come out of my account. But you just demonstrated there, you collect it. You don't. It shouldn't come out of your pocket whatsoever, should it?
No, it's not yours in the first place. It's a tax. So you have to think that is what you've collected. That's what you're going to owe. So move it aside. Just never have it with your profit money. And it's the same, treat it like anything else. Like I would, every month I put away my personal tax of what I know I've got to put aside as well. Things like on-side account, any holiday like the staff accrue, again, goes in that. Anything that I know isn't mine goes in that account. And when it's got to be paid, I transfer it back in and it's paid.
And never spend
that my money. The VAT is not my money.
Yeah.
It is added on to my money. You've got to think when you're pricing your structure, you've got to not think what your price is including VAT. You've got to think what it is excluding the VAT. That's what you want to charge. So if you're looking at a spaniel and you're thinking, oh, well, I want to make £45, for example, to me, I've got to charge 52.
Yeah.
To make that 45. I always round it up. I don't have any odds and ends. I always round up my figures to make it simple. So if I, want to add on, and I normally do a bit more than the 12% for the VAT. So I always kind of try and think what I want to make and then add on.
And going back to paperwork wise, you need to obviously put on there that you're VAT registered. You have to include your VAT number, and if you give receipts and invoices and stuff, you have to break down the cost, don't you? And
yeah, but I've never been asked to give. No. I do card payments, and they get their receipt for that. I've never been asked for. I mean, if I've got it, if they want it, but no one wants it. They don't care. They can't claim it back, really. You might get the odd pub owner, or they use it as a guard dog or whatever, but they've got a chihuahua, it's a guard dog.
I think we had a builder, I think he had a Jack Russell or something. Emma might shout out what it was, and he used to always take the receipt so he could claim it back as his guard dog.
So if you've got another business owner, they might want to do that, but I think they know really that the taxman's going to think, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think I've ever been asked for a receipt. It's no more different. That didn't change, to be honest.
No, and when you if you ever, or when you computerize your systems, and if anyone uses computers, it does it all for you anyway, and you build the VAT into the prices, and you can put your VAT numbers in and stuff like that. So if you do print off receipts, it's all there for them. But the I was just laughing about that builder still claiming the VAT back on his guard dog, which was Jack Russell, I'm sure it was. I can't remember what I was going to say. That was it. So when you're flat rate VAT, so you're charging your customers 20% and you're paying back 12%. So you're making that little bit of profit there as well, which you need to take account of when you're doing your accounts. But you can't claim VAT back on the products you buy, can you?
No, I mean, I can't remember, you might know, when you go flat rate, I did have, you get like, I went over, it was Christmas, so you get a couple of months, don't you? You get a couple of months. I went over it in December.
1 month. Yeah,
and then you have a month leeway, and also you can claim certain things, can't you? You can go back 6 months, can't you? So anything that I bought big, I claimed that back, and the accountancy. So I had, that sort of helped at the beginning. So I can't remember, it was a few grand I got back initially, and that was the one claim that you can do. And then so the idea is that you add on 20%, like you say, and then you pay your 12%. But as long as you've got that 12% covered in initially, that's why I did my price increase. I didn't want to add 20% on for customers because that would have been a bit scary. So that's why I did the 10 to 12%, and then gradually I've done it. And now, I mean, I've probably gone 30% now to what I was then. But yeah, as long as you've got that VAT covered extra on top of what you want to charge. So at least the 12%, I would say. And then once you've got that for a year, then you can then do, but any new dogs coming in, you have to price better, I think.
And I think you also highlight, when you're saying about your savings account, if you're a sole trader and you run it all through your personal account, the temptation must be, that money sitting there, do not spend the VAT. It is not yours to spend.
Yeah, it is. And that's why I've got it. It comes up on my online banking. I've got both accounts, but I almost like blank it out in my head, and I'm quite good at that. I just look at my current account. That's what I've got in my pocket.
Yeah.
That's what I've got for the tax man.
Yeah.
So I'm very strict with that, and I've always been quite good on things like that.
But you have to be.
That's mine. That's not mine.
If you're not, that I think taxes is probably one of the single biggest killers of business. When you start dabbling with the taxman's money, like VAT or income tax, you start getting into their debt, and you know, it can really spiral out of control. They're an extremely powerful agency, really.
And that's why I was getting stressed, to be honest, about the VAT, because I wanted to do it because it gets stressful if you're close to it and you're thinking, well, what if I've done something wrong? You just think, I mean, this is before all the, like, you got QuickBooks, you've got Xero. It's really easy to see how much you can work out without your accountant, how much tax bill you're going to have. You can just see, and then I can work out, not the VAT, but your actual annual tax bill. You can work it out roughly what you got for the year, and then put that aside each month. So you're not suddenly whacked with a massive tax bill.
Yeah, and we want to avoid that. You need, the devil is in the detail, isn't it? And keeping a good close eye on what's coming in and what's going out.
I would always get an accountant, you know, they don't cost, it's so much stress taken off of you to get an accountant. There's so much paperwork gone. I'm not good with anything like that. And my accountant, I do the Xero, and that's it. But I'm on the phone to him if there's something I don't understand, and you know, it's sorted for me. So and it's tax efficient anyway. I think people that do their own taxes, unless you enjoy it, don't do it.
And I think it's really important to have that good relationship with your accountant, so that you can just phone them up and ask them that question, answer that email, just to satisfy you or put your mind at risk. It's it's really important. So what's your next target? So obviously the flat rate scheme has got brackets on it. Someone's asked the question, so Dawn's asked the question, just looking at the flat rate VAT, is your turnover then capped at 150,000 before you go to the standard 20%? So there are brackets, aren't there?
Yeah.
Flat rate.
Yeah, I can't. Is it 150,000? I think it's I think it's.
But that's 100. I think. Let me just check it. But I think it's 150,000 pre VAT, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you can probably earn up to
you've got
turnover.
You've also got to stay on the flat rate. You've got to buy 2% of. So you've got to spend out 2% as well of your each quarter. I've got to spend more than 2% of what I've made on, but that's easily covered in shampoo, to be fair, easily. But
so your turnover can go to, and this is including the VAT, you can turn over up to £180,000 before you then have to change to normal standard VAT. So it's 150,000 excluding VAT, or 180,000 if it's easier to look at it that way. So is that your next target?
Yeah, I mean, and to be honest, that's come in. It's not that far. It's quite, so that'd be the next thing. But by then, that's why my pricing structure that I've done now, I'm thinking of that coming in the future. So I'm just being a lot better with my pricing structure now. And you know, I've got other ideas that I want to do as well, that you know, add extra.
That's right. Katie's just joined us, and she's just asking, is there a general rule how much do you put aside each month? So we were just discussing that we're flat rated, myself and yourself are flat rate VAT. So Katie, we charge the customer 20%, and then we pay the VAT person 12%. So you just got to look at your turnover, what you've earned that week, what you've earned that month, and then put away 12% if you're going on to VAT, flat rate VAT. But also, I know Katie's a dog trainer, so I don't know whether the scheme is a little bit different, as in the percentages. That's something that Katie would have to sort of check out to see whether.
I think because dog grooming wasn't actually on it, was it? And I think they had to go to the nearest.
Hairdresser,
so I would imagine she'll probably be the same, because it was 11% and then it went 12. But you have it cheaper, don't you, for a while as well?
Yeah. So you got to check out your industry on with the HMRC to see what their percentage is. So I think dog groomers, we have to go down the hairdressing route, don't we?
Yeah, something.
It's similar, you know. So having spoken to you as well, what I'm really impressed with is how, I suppose, brave you are with your prices, and how brave you are with your price increases.
Cocky.
Is it cocky though, or is it, you know what you want to, you are driving your business now, aren't you? You've got those targets in your head. You just said to me, yeah, that's my next target, 180,000 turnover, and I'm going to get there. So you've got those sort of targets in your head, and you're driving it, and you appreciate that you need to put your prices up and add extra services to get there. So I think you are being brave with your prices. There's a lot of people out there that would be shying away from a 20% increase.
Honestly, I think I've gone down that route of not wanting to put prices up when I first started it, and like the customers that always make you feel very guilty. We've all had them, and you go out and they're the ones that actually you've got to be strict with it. You have to, because at the end of the day, that if they're loyal to you, they will stay with you, and if they're not, there'll be someone else that will be paying that price that come along and fill their slot. I've got a lady. She's got 3 little poodles. They're really difficult dogs, and she's one of the ones that's known me since I was 15. And her pricing, each time a dog passes away, she'll get another one. And I've got stuck in that rut with her, but I've got that conversation prepared for her. She's in next week, and I'm just saying, no, that is it. That is it now. This is the business. And I'll just explain it to her. I'll be nice, but I'll explain. And it is what it is. And she'll have to make that decision. She can either stay with me or she can go somewhere else. But at the end of the day, I've got a waiting list of people that will pay the prices.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And how long did it take?
It's not being harsh, but it's actually, I've got to start looking after myself and looking after my team. And I don't want to work myself to the bone and not, it's a hard job. It's physical. It's hard at the other end of the day when you're doing, everything's in your head. You don't stop at 5 o'clock. We all carry on. We get texts from customers and you want help. There's that extra bit. It's all time. So you've got to make a living.
That's right. And like you said, you get to the end of the day and you've done your full-time job, but then you've got to run the business in the background, haven't you? You've got to then go and do all your figures and pay your staff. And so it's not just a 9-to-5 job. Most dog groomers if you're running the business, it's a lot longer. Your days are a lot longer, having to sort out all the paperwork and stuff. And was there a time when you felt quite sort of that sick feeling when you were talking about putting your prices up? And how long did that last for? And what made you just go, no,
Lockdown actually has done a lot for me, and I saw my family and things I'd kind of not had because I've been working so hard, working so many hours. I thought, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I've spent time with my family that's been really quality, and I want that back and I want to keep it. So I want to work less but earn the same. I want to be greedy. And actually, I've got a huge client. I've got a month of dog waiting for me. So I thought, do you know what, it's the time to do it. And people are kind of expecting it now. So I just thought, well, I'm busy. It's going to be make or break. So if my client basis drops, it will build back up again, because it always has. It's always gone on. And you might have a little dip when you do a big price increase, but it never. Sometimes you're kind of hoping you get a bit of a dip in the break. It goes on because you'll get new clients coming in, and actually, you also get a lot of clients that if they charged a little bit more, they respect you, and they actually think, oh, I'll go there because they must be good. That they can charge these prices rather than going to the cheap one down the road. Because they'll think, well, why are they so cheap?
That's it. And
if you get a cheap builder, you're always thinking, why are you cheap? Why,
when you're oversubscribed, when you've got people waiting to do business with you, it's a sign that people want to do business. They really want to use your services, and that is your opportunity then to put your prices up, because they're so willing to use you and use your services, they'll pay that extra to do it. And then you manage out, I suppose is the best way to say it, you manage out the people that maybe you don't want to be working with you because they're price driven. And then again, that's another win, because you then opening up more room for new people that are going to pay you a higher price, aren't you? So
yeah,
and you prove that it works.
yeah. And you know, the ones, I mean, they come back anyway. They might go, but they generally come back because they'll see why you charge what you charge, and you get what you pay for at the end of the day. And I think you're better off. It's like with puppies. I mean, I was saying to you, I'm going to charge more with puppies because I'd rather charge more so I can put that quality time in with them and explain that to the owner. That's why I charge more, because rather than a quick puppy intro, I'd rather spend more time and more effort to really focus on your puppy, but I'll have to charge you a bit more because it's my time.
Yeah.
And people, they think, oh, that's good, that's really good. It's communication. A lot of it's communication.
So lockdown kind of got rid of the fear, and you were just like, right,
I changed over lockdown. I think, you know, I've noticed it in myself, and it's more confidence, I think. I mean, I am, the way I go about it to clients is I might be a little bit, oh, I'm doing this because, but actually that's the way I approach it. But they respect me for why I'm doing it, because I explain it to them. I don't just do it. I explain that, you know, actually I want to continue my service, but to do that, I'm going to have to do this. And it's like, and I've had a lot of private messages. I put a post up the other day. A lot of people have messaged me privately and said, well done and thank you. They're offering to pay in advance. You know, they can't believe that people not show up for appointments and things like that. So these are the clients that are really good. And a lot of them want to book for the year, and they want to pay for the year because they want to guarantee, they can see that I'm busy. So they want to guarantee their slots now. So.
And the price.
Yeah. And that's the thing, you know, all the prices are a starting price. I don't do fixed prices. It's, you don't know what you're going to get sometimes, even with the regulars. You get a guide, but it might be more on the day. And if it is going to be more, I won't just charge someone more when they collect the dog. I'll always phone someone and, well, there's lights. Yay. Yeah, it's fine.
To my wife a minute. Good evening.
Yeah, I just think you need to just be assertive with it. And I've lost my train of thought because the light came on.
So a lot of people, a question that we get a lot in the group is, you know, I want to put my prices up. I need to put my prices up. How do I tell my customers? And I was thinking, you know, you're a very busy groomer. You have a lot of people coming through your doors. So you can't, do you speak to each one individually, or you put posts out? And
post on social media. So Instagram and Facebook is what I do. I don't do Twitter. I need to learn how to do Twitter. But yeah, so social media. I've got a very short little notice that's there to cover me in the shop, just saying we've got a price increase, and it's very short and sweet, no explanation. Price increase from 1st of April. Thank you. That's it. And do you know, I've not really been asked about it. The ones I've had in the last few days, I've just done it. I've not even told them. I've just added it on.
Right.
They asked, say, oh, that's more than last time. I said, oh, well, we did put our prices up from 1st of April, and that's it. Oh, okay. And I've been, you know, some of them I put up by £10, and they've not
back neither.
like, okay, that's honestly. I had one today said, oh, that's gone up, and it's like, yeah, but you've not gone up for like 18 months, and it was more work today. Oh, okay, that's fine. Thank you.
I think people are worried about that rejection, or maybe that argument, or being put on the spot. I don't know whether that's one of the reasons why people put off the price increases, but I've always sort of said, the sooner you do it, the less worry it will cause you, and the worry is worse than actually doing it.
I mean, the big one, because I've just done, like I said, 15 to 20% above the board on, and that's minimum as well across the board. And I did put a thing on social media, and I explained about that I haven't done a big price increase since I got registered for VAT. It's just been, I've kept in line with everything, and I've kept above water. But I thought, do you know what? I want to charge more now. I feel I should, and I put it on social media. I put things that I'm going to charge more for, like nail clipping is going to be more. If dogs are matted, I'm going to be stricter. Late collections, little fees that they can incur. I did a list of things and explained hand stripping is going to have a 15 to 20 pound extra added on minimum. You know, I did all of that, and I was really strict with it. And so far, so good. It's working, and it's been, people have just, and actually it's made them realize what the job entails.
Yeah,
they know that it, you know, I rather than just writing something like a late collection fee, I've explained why. It's like, for example, if you've got a vocal dog, we're trying to keep the salon calm and quiet for other customers. If you're late collecting your dog, it's just if you want us to accommodate, we just appreciate you asking us, and we'll try to accommodate. If you're just leaving that dog for half an hour barking, and we've got to accommodate that dog, and we've got another dog coming in, that owner is going to get stressed because they're leaving a dog with a dog barking. That's where you'll get charged, you know. So I've explained why I'm doing it. Or if you've got a dog that's elderly, collect them on time. Just to explain why, that it's because we're looking after the dogs. We're not doing this to be horrible. We're doing this to make it better for everybody. So if you've got a matted dog, the skill that goes into clipping a matted dog, you know, it's not a quick shave off. That will incur extra time and cost money. If we've got 2 people, that will incur double time that you're paying for 2 members of staff.
Yeah.
Because, and I've kind of sort of said things like, it's not fair charging, I feel it's not fair charging someone who comes every 4 to 6 weeks the same as someone coming every 4 to 6 months. But I've just explained it all. So
you adjust your prices accordingly to that.
Yeah. And I think people appreciate, that's why I'm getting the ones like, oh yeah, okay, I'll come more regular.
So that's a good question, actually, because again, another one I see quite a lot is when people join the group, I sort of ask them what their top 3 problems are. And a regular one problem that people have is getting people to come more often. So you use a pricing structure to incentivize people to come more often. Yeah, and also to say that, you know, the dogs are better. They're the ones that come often. It's quicker. You've got the handovers quicker. Everything is quicker. So they deserve a cheaper price, and they're your bread and butter. So I think you have to have bread and butter customers, and they might be a little bit cheaper than the starting price, but I'll show them the starting price, and I'll say, look, I'm doing it for you for that. I make them feel extra special. Don't go telling everyone in the park that's your price. I'm doing that because you do this and you deserve it. So then they feel special, but it might only be a couple of quid below the starting price. But that's me showing loyalty, but I'm still making good money on them because they're coming every 4 weeks, and I can turn that dog over in an hour and a quarter. So I think you've got to have a little niche of bread and butter customers that are you need those customers, whatever time of year it is, whether it's sunny, whether it's raining, cold, they will always come to you like that. I think that's what, when you hit that VAT threshold, that 85,000, and go through it, I think that already shows that you've got those building blocks there. You've got those regular customers that are always coming back, and then you just start adding more regular customers to carry that on. But I think hitting that 85,000 sort of target shows that you've got that regular, stable client base anyway. So that it also gives you confidence to put your prices up, because you know you've always got that stable platform there, and then anything above it, like you said, it can dip down and go back up again, but you've always got that stable sort of client base that you know is always going to be attending your shop and having the haircuts done. So
it's not just, yeah, I mean, you've done well to get there. You've worked hard, and those people, they won't want to just go anywhere else because they've got no, it's their dog. It's like handing over to someone they trust. It's not just about having a good haircut. It's trusting someone with their dog, which is their most precious. Even I know I'm a mother of 3, but my dog is my little baby. So you have to respect those people, and they won't just go anywhere else because they've been going to you to be loyal enough to stay with you now, and they will just support you. I've just grown from doing it, and it's given me wings.
So you've experienced holding that business back. You've experienced trying to keep that business under the VAT threshold. It's caused you a lot of stress, a lot of worry, sleepless nights, and then you've allowed the business to go through it, and you come out the other side, 6 years later, and your prices are still rocketing sort of 15-20%, and you're probably trying to do that to prevent people from booking in, but
yeah,
is it?
that's the thing. You do, because you think, do you know what, I'm so busy, I need to quieten down. But they just say, oh, okay, that's fine. Even the new customers coming in, I've like said to them, our cockapoos might, I said £65 is a good starting price for our cockapoos. We've got a few that are cheaper that have been coming for years, and they'll stay a little bit below the level. But again, they're the 4 to 6 week ones, which I can do really quickly. So, but a new one coming in, that's what I'm telling people with puppies. That's my starting price, and people are okay with it. They're just like, and that's inclusive of VAT. And I always say to them, that's inclusive of VAT, but that is my starting price. 65 to 85 is my cockapoo little barrier, and people will pay it.
This Rosie's just saying, love that what is generally talked about in a negative way. If you frame it in your head, it's actually super positive. It is positive.
Yeah.
You've taken that stance of celebrating with your customers, saying, look how busy I am, look how popular we are. People want to use our services and they want to bring their pets to us. And because of that, we've had to do this little thing called VAT, but we'll just keep going. And
I think the more that do it and get this threshold and not see it as it's not a demon, it's success. If you've got that far, you've got successful, so you should be really proud of yourselves. And I think I would have never thought in a million years I would have got to that threshold, and I got there a lot quicker than I thought I would. And I just wish I'd done it earlier. That's my biggest regret, is not going for earlier, because by now I'd have grown even bigger.
Yeah,
so I'm doing the things that I should have done sort of 10 years ago, maybe more than that, to be fair. Because
the 200,000 turnover business.
and I still love it, and I still love the job, and it's relatively small compared to what some of the businesses have got a lot more potential. They've got bigger premises and things, and that's the other thing I was lucky with, is my property. But because I didn't rent it, I mortgaged it, so I've bought the property. So you just got to be a bit savvy with it sometimes,
or brave. You've got to be brave in business, and not let that fear take over. And I was talking to someone the other day, and it's like, we don't fail in business. There's never a failure in business, because you've got to give it a go, and you've got to try your best, and then you've got to watch and monitor it. And it doesn't fail. It might be that you've just realized it's not working, so you need to change it. That's not a failure, though, is it? I think you fail in business if you don't try it. I think that's probably the better way to look at it. If that fear holds you back, then I think that's where you do fail in business. Because
if your circumstances change, if you go above the VAT threshold and your circumstances change, whether it be you want to drop right back down through health or just life, you can do that. You can deregister if you think, do you know what, this isn't going as big as I wanted it to go. You can go back small if you need to, but I bet you once you're there, once you've done it, you'll regret not doing it a lot sooner.
Brilliant.
And then you can grow. You can structure your prices. You can have your worth. You can do different services. You can add. There's so much you can add on now. The teeth cleaning and all sorts.
I asked a question in the group the other day. It's like, what's your why? Why are you in business? And I think you sort of touched on it earlier. It's like, it's now your why is to free up some more time and be paid generously for that, for doing less, being paid more for doing less and spending more time with your family. That's kind of your why now, isn't it? That's what's going to drive you on, drive your business on.
Yeah, because I sort of want to sort of slow down myself, but because I've got a good team, that they'll be able to work, I'll still be able to earn money by not working. So that's my aim. I just want to start enjoying a bit of downtime, but the business can make money without me there. So if you stay small, if you want to have good staff and good team members, if you don't work, you don't earn.
Yeah.
Whereas I can not work and earn.
So you put that foundation in, haven't you?
Yeah. But everyone pretty much is going on this threshold anyway. That's the fact, they've already got the foundation.
Yeah.
They've all got it.
Everyone, it's achievable, isn't it? It's achievable for everyone. It's that fear that holds people back, and that's why I wanted to sort of bring it back to the beginning of our conversation. You know, how nice it is to meet someone that's so positive about it and so like passionate about going for it and not letting that fear hold them back. And that's what you've kind of taught us tonight, haven't you?
Hopefully. I think it's such a good industry and it's needed more than ever now. There's so many dogs out there. You know, that's what people care a lot more about their dogs now. And when I started 34 years ago, it was just should I get my dog done? It's what everyone wants now. There's so many breeds out there. Don't moan about your clients. Be grateful for your clients because, you know, at the end of the day, they're paying your wage. If you've got a client that's you're sort of one that you're dreading coming in because it's a difficult dog, charge higher. So at least you're getting good money for that difficult dog.
Yeah.
Charge higher, and then they'll respect you more because you're charging higher.
I think it's all, like you're saying, it's all about the communication that you have and that relationship with your client. And I sort of go on about you need clients rather than customers. And that comes from a book called Oversubscribed. And, you know, you're the very principles of Oversubscribed. People want to do business with you. They're waiting. You're on waiting lists. They're queuing up, which allows you to put your prices up. But when you have clients rather than customers, they become your biggest fans and they become loyal and they form that customer base. So
I never spend on advertising.
No.
I honestly don't need to. It's just word of mouth. It's just the dog is your advert. The dog going out to the park is your advertising. The only thing I do is my Facebook post, and even that I'm quite useless at, if I'm honest. I just stick a photograph up, and it just gets you out there. I'm getting better with Instagram, but I need to watch your YouTube videos on it. But I think I just think you're your best advert. You're your best selling. If you just spend a little bit of time with every new customer you get in, 5-10 minutes, that's your basis. Start them off and explain why you do what you do, why you charge what you charge. If they question it, the products, you use good quality products, you spend time, you've invested in your time, your training, whatever, sell yourself and be proud of that. You know, and if people question it and they don't want to pay it, you don't want that client because they never, ever respect you. And they're never, ever, they will always barter with the price. You don't want them. Let them go down to someone who doesn't care. You want to make money. Your business.
Red flag. Don't want them.
Yeah, you don't. I've had a lot of people like that. I've sacked quite a few lately. I've done that.
If you've got time, tell us how you do it, because this is another thing that I find coming through the top 3 problems when they join my group is saying no. A lot of people struggle to say no to people and no to customers. So what's your top tips for saying no?
I've got a few different ones.
Or asking a customer to leave or leave your books?
It depends on why. If it's the dog, then I kind of give it. I won't just sack a dog because I think, do you know, I don't want to do that dog. I would try with that client, and I try and work with the client. And generally, if you've got a client that wants to work with you and the dog's difficult, that I'm more sort of towards helping them, because if the client understands. So my first port with that one would be, okay, if they want to go out of hours or 2 members of staff, they're going to have to pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
So they might be paying double what someone else is. But if they want me to help that dog, they're going to have to help in that way. And I will help. If you've got someone who they don't want, you know, or rudeness, I won't stand for someone speaking to myself or my staff in a rude way. And I'll just say, I'm sorry, I find your manners are rude, and I won't have my staff or myself spoken to that way. So if you'd like to just reverse and go out the door, please. And that is as blunt as I've been lately, because I had a lady who got really rude in COVID. She was banging on the door. We had one customer in the reception area, and we had the door shut, and she was banging and screaming. She was early for an appointment, so I just sort of waved to her and said, "Oh, 2 minutes," and she was banging and banging. And anyway, she walked away. The other client went, and she came in, and I said, "You were really rude then." I said, she said, "Oh, I'm not apologising." And I just said, "Well, in that case, you better just walk back out the door." I said, I don't want your custom, thank you." And she was like, "Really?" And I went, "Really?" I said, "I'm not being spoken to like that." I said, "And you stressed out my customer I said, you were early for your appointment."
Yeah.
All you had to do was say, you know, listen to me and wait for 2 minutes. That's all she had to do. So if it's a dog that's difficult, it's difficult, isn't it? I just basically say to them why it's difficult, and that I've got to think of my safety. I've got to think of my staff safety, and I just feel that your dog is not making us safe. And
at the end of the day, you're self-employed, and your hands are your tools. They're the tools of your trade, aren't they? And if you become injured, that's not good, is it?
I always thought that if it's a dog, I don't feel happy doing it. I don't want to pass it on to a member of my staff. So if it is, you get dogs, and it might not necessarily be biters. It can be that they throw themselves around, that I feel the dog might injure themselves. I don't want that on my, you know, I will try. I will try with the dog, but if a customer won't help me, I won't help their dog anymore. I've done it so many times. I've nearly broke my back having those dogs going for me, being aggressive. I just don't want dogs like that anymore. I would see them in the diary. I would hate it. I wouldn't want to go into work. So I've just said, I'm sorry. I'm just ruling out those thoughts. You know, I don't want you anymore. I am literally quite blunt. I've just sort of said, I'm sorry. It's not feasible for us to do your dog anymore.
Yeah.
Trying to keep the salon calmer and quiet. And also, if you've got a calmer, quieter salon, we're busy, but we're calmer, because if a customer comes in and they can see a dog thrashing around all over the side, it's not good for your business. People think, they don't understand that it might be the dog being a git. They think, oh, poor dog, but it's not nice to leave your dog in a salon where you've got a dog barking or throwing itself. So I will do those dogs out of hours if it's a dog that's okay to do, but they will pay well for it, and they will pay for 2 members of staff. And because they I suppose if they take up a morning's work, I will charge them what I would normally make in a morning. You know, I've said to people, that's going to cost you a few £100s. If they don't want to pay it, it's fine, because they can go then. Yeah.
So you know, I think the message is, it's your business, it's your rules, isn't it? That's what it comes down to.
I won't have the risk of being bitten. I'm not a hero. You know, I value my business too much. I value my hands too much. And I'm sure there's groomers out there. I have done those sort of dogs, but I just don't want it anymore. People don't appreciate it. I've done it where I've worked really hard with clients, and I've gone through all that with the dog, and then generally they're like, "Oh, I've got the problem solved. I'll go somewhere else cheaper." Then that dog's mucked up, and then they come back to me, and that dog's completely screwed up again. And I'm like, "No, I said to you, you've got to do blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've learned from that. I just don't want those sort of dogs anymore. I just don't. And it doesn't matter. Or ones that are just really difficult and stubborn and break your back. People like that I will do, but I'll charge very high for, because it's my back, it's my time.
It's okay to say no to people. It's okay to turn customers away, and it's okay to say no, or it's okay to charge extra to make sure that that dog that's going to take a lot more of your time is viable for your business as well.
Yeah, I mean, or dogs that I feel. I mean, the one thing that I do find really difficult is elderly dogs. You know, there's dogs that are, you worry about them, that you've been grooming for all their life, and you know that they're so fragile. So I will work with those customers, but they have to work with me. They bring them in, they collect them when they have to. But to me, they're quite stressful dogs. So you feel like you should be loyal to those dogs with the pricing, but actually those dogs might be taking, I don't know, time and a half more, or sometimes 2 people. So that's a hard one to be strict with the pricing on, because they've been a loyal customer all their life. So those I'm a bit more lenient on. Again, they have been loyal, and they'll probably get another dog after and appreciate what you've done. So yeah, I lose money on the little oldies.
But it's your business again, isn't it? It's your business.
Yeah.
That's the main message there.
Yeah.
There's a fan out there in Facebook, Sarah.
Yeah.
I bought a grooming business almost 3 years ago. Didn't know a thing about grooming or running a business, and thank God for Helen. There you go. She's been
she's done amazing. She's on the VAT threshold and she's going for it. And I just said, you know, she's bought the business and really turned her business around. So it's having a positive attitude and being honest with people. I'm very honest with my customers. If I've got a dog that's behaving difficultly, I'm honest. I don't go out, oh, Fluffy's fine. I tell them, Fluffy's not fine. Yeah. Let's work on it. It's honesty. And I might say to them, come in every 2 weeks to you know, charge for that. I won't do free things. Don't do free things. If I've asked a dog just to come in, even to sit in the salon for an hour, charge for that hour that you're getting that dog used to it.
You're supervising it, aren't you? So
yeah. You just got to be honest. You know, even with puppies, it's hard with a cute puppy, but sometimes they can be really difficult, and the owners need to be told some homework of how to handle that dog. And you get the ones that really listen and they respect you for it and they take it on board, and then that's a customer for the next 10, 15 years. So
it's your client base.
Put in what you want to get out.
I really hope that as many people possible watch this, and it will go onto the YouTube channel so that people can watch it. It's been really valuable for them, and it's a great bit of mindset for them to be more positive around their business. So thank you for agreeing to come on and share your experiences with us, and being so open and honest about your business, and celebrating the fact that you're doing well, and it is there to be celebrated. And you're now going to go on and help others, I think, from watching this, to be more positive and to drive their business forward. And when I say like smash the bat, they won't be like, oh, shut up, Bill.
Do it. And if I'd been in their shoes like 6 years ago, I was scared of it. I was really, really scared. But you know what? Every year, I would say for a few years before that, I was thinking, oh, you know, each time the budget come, how much are you going to put the threshold up? I was like trying to think, can that give me a little bit more leeway? And that was what was holding me back. And I was so scared of it. And I'm so glad I did it. And I've grown, and I've done that. I was a single parent and I did it. Just do it.
Do it. Just do it. In the words of a famous company, just do it. Well, thank you for your time. It's been brilliant to be you. And make sure you, what's your dog groomers called, by the way?
Millionhairs.
Millionhairs. So you can check you out on Facebook and have a look at the way you message your customers and talk to your customers. And I love some of the stuff that you share on your Facebook page about it's just getting to know your business, isn't it? And it's not just befores and afters. There's loads of different stuff on there. So
yeah, I try to. I'm
Check
not great at it, but I do. Yeah, I try.
Check
And
out-
I do try and do little bits of snippets and information. My dog Bentley is a star.
That's it. That's it. So check out Million Hairs and make sure, Helen, make sure you go back and read over all the comments. There's lots of people saying thank you and thank you for the insights and stuff like that. And say hello to Sarah.
I know I waffle. I'm a waffler. But, you know,
It's been brilliant. Thank you a lot. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.